Hello and welcome to News Now. The National Hajj Commission has said that the death toll of Nigerians who died during last Thursday's stampede in Minna has now risen to 64. The Commission's Director of Public Affairs, Ubamana, disclosed this during an interview with newsmen, saying that the death toll had risen because the Commission had been able to identify some of the corpses, though he added that 244 pilgrims were still missing. Mana said 71 pilgrims were injured as against the 61 pilgrims earlier announced by the Commission. He listed 15 states in Bauchi, Borno, Zamfara, Cross River, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Sokoto, Taraba and Yobe as those that lost pilgrims to the stampede. Senators in Nigeria's upper chamber have passed a vote of confidence on its president, Bukola Saraki, who was dogged for 13-count charges involving false asset declaration. David Umar, who read the motion, initially said it was sponsored by 84 senators. However, Chairman Senate Committee on Business and Rules, Babajide Omowurare Osun East, asked that his name be removed from the list. Umar said the Nigerian Constitution guarantees separation of powers. He also condemned, according to him, quote, ongoing unwarranted media embarrassment of the Senate and the Senate leadership, end of quote, and urged Nigerians not to allow themselves to be used to harass or intimidate the Senate leadership. Saraki was charged before the Code of Conduct Tribunal to answer to allegations of corruption leveled against him by the Code of Conduct Bureau. He, however, pled not guilty to all 13 charges. The tribunal adjourned its trial to September the 21st, and the Senate President was granted bail on self-recognition. The Federal Court of Appeal in Abuja has adjourned the appeal of Senate President Bukola Saraki to stop his arrest by the police and stay proceedings before the Code of Conduct Tribunal following the death of presiding judge Justice Abubakar Abdul Qadir Jega. Saraki's case was adjourned till the next day. Till today, actually, but the court clerk informed those who had already arrived at the courtroom that it had been postponed for 1 week to give the justices and staff of the appellate court time to honor Justice Jega. Justice Jega was among the 54, or now at least that number has actually gotten up to 64 or 67 Nigerians confirmed dead by the National Hajj Commission during last Thursday's stampede in Minna. The Court of Appeal and the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja in two separate rulings had refused the ex parte applications brought by the Senate President seeking to stop his arrest by the police and stay proceedings before the Code of Conduct Tribunal over alleged false assets declaration. Saraki had wanted the Federal High Court to stop the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal from prosecuting him on the grounds that it is only the Attorney General of the Federation that has the power to initiate criminal proceedings against him. The national leadership of the People's Democratic Party has alleged that President Muhammadu Buhari will not respect the ministers he appoints to his cabinet. The party, speaking through its National Publicity Secretary Lisa Metua at a news conference in Abuja, said the intentions of the president was not to appoint aides but to run a monocracy. Metu added that the refusal of the president to have a cabinet was already taking its toll on government's activities, both in the country and outside. The Nigerian police has said it is not aware of any ransom payment for the release of the former secretary to the government of the Federation, Olufalaye, who regained his freedom recently after he was kidnapped at his farm in Akure, the Ondo State capital, southwest Nigeria. Falaye and his family members had revealed that a ransom was paid to his abductors for his release, contradicting Nigeria's Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, who had said no ransom was paid to secure the release of the former secretary to the government of the Federation. Now, following up on his earlier claim that no ransom exchanged hands, the Office of the Inspector General of Police has now issued a statement insisting that even if a ransom was paid by the Falaye's family, the police was never in the know and would not, under any circumstance, encourage the payment of ransom to kidnappers or other criminals. The force went further to say that if confirmed that ransom was paid to the abductors, details on how the payment was made and to whom such payment was made would significantly aid the force in uncovering those behind the act. Nigeria's technocrat and boardroom expert Gamaliel Onno has died after suffering from a protracted illness. He died on Tuesday at the Gold Cross Hospital, Ikoyi, Lagos, southwest Nigeria, after he was flown home yesterday from London. Nosari, who was born on May 22, 1933, was a former presidential advisor to President Shehu Shagari and a former president of the Nigerian Institute of Management. He's also chaired several private and public sector businesses and initiatives. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has again reaffirmed his commitment to the fight against corruption. Speaking on behalf of the President at the 2015 Network of National Anti-Corruption Institutions in West Africa Anti-Corruption Academy Training Program, Secretary to the Government of the Federation Babachir David Lawal, who represented the President at the occasion, blamed the rampant poverty in the country and corruption. He said the current government would remain resolute in its anti-corruption campaign despite the resistance from some corrupt elements, insisting that the government is determined to see the fight to its logical conclusion.
For despite the fact that Nigeria is one of the most resource-rich countries in the world, the lives of its people has been blighted by the scourge of corruption. The evidence is everywhere, all too obvious for Nigerians and its friends to ignore. Consequently, we are now rated as one of the most corrupt nations in the world. A number of well-meaning efforts made in the past to change this unedifying narrative has sometimes been cut down short in infancy by the determined, well-organized, and well-funded corruption lobby. However, Nigerians are now more than ever determined to face this evil lobby head-on and resoundingly defeat it. We do not for a moment deceive ourselves that this war we have embarked on is going to be swift and painless. We do not imagine that our compatriots and their foreign collaborators who are dyed in the wool corrupt practitioners will simply abandon their noble enterprise and run. They will fight back. Indeed, they are already fighting back. But what they seem not to acknowledge is the will of this administration to see to the war on corruption to its logical conclusion and win. God has been good to us as a nation. We have all that we need to make Nigeria great again. We have once again a historic opportunity to make it right by our teeming populace. We have to reclaim our stolen commonwealth. For neither man nor God will forgive us if we do not throw everything we have into this war and win it.
Women of Rights for Change Initiative, a non-governmental organization in Lagos, began a 2-day sensitization campaign on the guideline on gender-based violence and young persons. Speaking at the event, the president of the organization, Dr. Joe Dumakin, called on victims not to remain silent but open up so that society can deal decisively with the issue. The Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, who declared the meeting open, said the government has enacted relevant laws and put in place policies to deal with the issue, asking victims to take advantage of them.
It may interest you that those that we have here today, majority of them are youth. And if we can rightly put it that those who perpetuate these heinous acts, most of them too are also youths. So we find out that we have youths as victims, youths as those that perpetuate the heinous acts. And that is why we need to have youths around, and the youths remain the brain boss, the heartbeat of a very great society. So our gathering here today and having our youths around is to prove a point. And that point is that the youths have to experience, they have to see what is happening so that they can be part of that change system. And the change we are talking about is building a society that is crime-free. As our young ones are here today, some of them might have been victims. If we do not speak out, then there is no way in which we know the areas that we can be of help.
It is an established fact that it is difficult to create a conceptual distinction between policy formulation and policy implementation. It has been observed that policy implementation is very tedious process that requires a careful and critical analysis before it is embarked upon. It is a process of converting human and material inputs, including information, technical, human demands and support, into outputs in form of goods and services. Therefore, a critical evaluation of the elements of impending policy should be studied for proper implementation. At a critical moment like this in the history of our nation, there is need to implement international conventions and fulfill commitments, strengthen the state obligation and responsibility to eliminate gender-based violence, eradicate its root causes, gender discrimination and gender inequality by reviewing all existing laws, policies with gender perspective.
Also at the event, the organization presented a man who was shot by a policeman while driving home with his family on a tricycle at the Jegun area of Lagos. The man's wife later died of the gunshot wound. The group wants the government to come to the man's aid.
I want the government to put my life back to normal. Because this is my right hand, I cannot be able to use it again. My jaw, I can't chew anything. And the education of my children, accommodation-wise. Then I want the Lagos State Governor, the person of Governor Mbode Akumi, and Lagos and Akwa Ibom State Governor, and the person of Udom Emmanuel, to come together and help me to put my life back to normal.
Well, we'll take a short break and the news now. We'll be right back.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on TV360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. Oil prices rose on Tuesday after evidence of tightening supplies in the United States, the world's biggest oil consumer, amid concerns over the health of the Chinese economy. China's giant manufacturing sector is shrinking, economists say, as domestic demand falters, finding concern that the economy may be slowing more sharply than feared. Brent crude oil was up 65 cents at $50 a barrel after dropping 2.5%. On Monday, U.S. light crude oil was also up 65 cents at $45.08. Oil prices have stabilized over the last month after more than a year of dramatic falls and rallies that have seen benchmark Brent swing between a high above $115 a barrel in June 2014 to a low of almost $42 a barrel in August this year. Russia President Vladimir Putin says he is willing to conduct airstrikes against Islamic State targets with the approval of the United Nations. Putin said this after meeting with U.S. President Barack Obama on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Speaking at the UN General Assembly meeting, Russia said it would be, quote, enormous mistake not to work with Syria's President Bashar al-Assad to tackle IS, though Putin ruled out Russian troops taking part in ground operation in Syria. He, however, reassured that Russia would conduct airstrikes against the terrorists with UN's approval. Former Congo Vice President Jean-Pierre Bemba has gone on trial at the International Criminal Court for obstructing justice after allegedly trying to corrupt witnesses in his war crimes trial. Bemba is accused of conspiring with ex-trial lawyer Ami Kilolo Musamba, Jean-Jacques Mangenda Kabongo, and another member of his legal team, Fidel Babala Wandu, a politician and close associate, and witness Narcisse Arido, to coach witnesses or offer pay for favorable testimony. In his crimes against humanity trial, he is accused of orchestrating atrocities against civilians in 2002 when soldiers for his movement for the liberation of Congo militia intervened in neighboring Central African Republic. However, all the suspects in the second trial deny any wrongdoing. Super Eagles coach Sunday Olise has released a list of 19 home-based players ahead of next month African Nations Cup Championship final qualifying fixture against Burkina Faso. Some of the players invited to the camp are top joint scorer in the Nigerian Professional Football League, Tunde Adeniji, Warri Wolves quartet of Gwalahon Salami, Solomon Kwambe, Idris Aloma, and Usman Mohammed. All players are expected in the Port Harcourt camp on Monday, October the 5th. However, the coach has exempted the 6 home-based professionals who will be in Belgium with a full senior national team for the 2 international friendlies against DR Congo and Cameroon that will be expected to join the squad Monday, October the 12th. These are goalkeepers Femi Thomas of Eyimba Football Club of Aba, and of course Ikechukwu Ezenwa of Sunshine Stars of Akure, defenders Chima Akas of Sharks of Port Harcourt, and Austin Obrakpo of Abia Warriors, midfielder Paul Onobi of Sunshine Stars, and forward Prince Agri of Sunshine Stars also complete the list. Former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner has been banned for all football-related activities for life by the World Football Governing Body's Ethics Committee. Warner, who spent 21 years at the head of CONCACAF, was one of 14 FIFA officials arrested in May in connection with the corruption scandal that has rocked World Football's governing body. The 72-year-old was accused of accepting millions of dollars in bribes. The charges brought by the U.S. against him include racketeering, wire fraud, bribery, and money laundering. His ban from football was confirmed in a statement released by FIFA on the official website today. The ban is effective from September the 25th, 2015. FIFA presidential candidate Chung MongJoon has slammed the current administration of the World Football Governing Body, saying that the organization is in total meltdown and needs an emergency task force to run the administration until next year's election. Speaking through a statement pushing his case as the right candidate for the FIFA presidency, Chung said he supported the ongoing investigations taking place into alleged corruption in FIFA, but believed the running of the sport should not be given to outsiders. He called on everyone who say they love football to come and help the sport in its time of crisis. Chung is one of 6 candidates after UEFA President Michel Platini, former Nigerian footballer Segun Odegbami, Brazilian legend Zico, and Prince Ali of Jordan and Ojus Okalu, also of Nigeria, put up their mandates in the race to replace Blatter as president of FIFA. The elections will take place on February the 26th during FIFA's Extraordinary Congress, of course, in Zurich. All candidates have until October the 26th to put up their mandates. Well, that's it on News Now. We thank you very much for watching. Continue to stay tuned to TV360.